why the conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia?
I think it goes back a bit to the overthrow of the repressive and repulsive Shah about 1979. Prior to that, my understanding was that relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran were fairly good. But with the overthrow of the Shah and a change in government, the Saudis were not happy. The Saudis didn't like a possible competitor in the region, although the Saudis, from what I've seen until recently,
we find that in comparison to much of the Middle East, there is a great deal of political contestation, and the political culture of Iran has changed significantly in the direction of being more democratic in comparison to the time of the Shah. What I mean is that we have seen in the last 4 decades a development in political culture, the development of a more democratic political culture. Iranians, your generation of Iranians understand what it means to vote. They understand the importance of selecting your leaders, and this is something that the generation who were born in the Shah's period did not understand, did not experience.
They've been painting Iran as the demon of the region, when the Iranians, to the best of my knowledge, haven't invaded anybody in several hundred years, whereas the Saudis invaded Bahrain, the Saudis invaded Yemen, and according to the former American ambassador there, Barbara Bodine, the Saudis are engaged in murder, war crimes, and human rights violations.
How do you see the future of this relationship between Iran and Saudi Arabia?
The various political regimes are under threat, their existence are under threat because of the political, economic instability in their respective countries. Then the various states in the region are going to compete or vie with each other for supremacy, for control over resources, for control over influence. And that would result in problematic alliances. If the alliance between Saudi Arabia, some countries in the region such as Saudi Arabia and Turkey with the United States is problematic. The alliance between Iran and Syria is problematic. Countries are often, for the sake of survival, for the sake of entrenching themselves in the region, are forced to make very difficult choices and to make uncomfortable alliances. And when these alliances are made, there are conflicts between the different sides.
Well, I think in the case of Saudi Arabia, it may well fail because the country may well collapse from within. I know in the past, the Saudis were very successful at having someone else fight their battles for them. The joke when I was in Jeddah amongst the expatriates was, oh, Iran has just declared war on Saudi Arabia. The Koreans got the contract to defend Saudi Arabia.
If we come back to the Saudi-Iran antagonism, the challenge for Saudi Arabia will be more deeply felt now because of the lifting of sanctions and with the prospect of Iran becoming a full member of the international community, with the prospects of Iran's economy taking off through greater diversification, through more deeper, meaningful ties as far as trade and economy and scientific developments are concerned with the rest of the world. The Iranian economy is set to if not take off, to experience some great changes in the near future. So this, I think, is going to put more pressure on the Saudis to bring about reforms.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Espringman. Saudi Arabia is trying to portray it as a sectarian conflict, and Iran is avoiding that. And let's say Saudi Arabia is trying to act irrationally while Iran tries to be a rational player. So, do you think that by playing an irrational role, Saudis can force Iranian into something tense?
Yes, the background is I think they haven't forgotten their failed attempt to destroy Iran through sanctions over its imaginary atomic bomb program. They've been very successful at selling that idea. My daughter, who's college educated and ought to know better, believed it. The teachers and apparently her son's school believe it. But in actuality, it's the Israelis who have the atomic bombs, hundreds of them, and nobody bothers to look at reality there. They want to paint the Iranians as being violently opposed to anything that's remotely peaceful.